The law office smelled like leather and disappointment. I sat across from Mr. Brennan, my grandmother's executor, trying to process words that made no sense. I'm sorry, Ms. Reeves. Your mother exercised her power as trustee to redirect your inheritance to Mr. Derek Reeves. The full $500,000. That's impossible. My voice came out steady, but my hands were shaking. Derek and I have been divorced for 3 years. And we never had children. Mr. Brennan shifted uncomfortably. Your mother cited the welfare of your children as the reason for the redistribution. What children? I laughed, but it came out sharp and bitter. Did she also cite my unicorn farm? My castle in Switzerland? I'm afraid I can't speak to her reasoning. Only that the transfer was completed last week. I pulled out my phone, ignoring the 17 missed calls from my mother. Instead, I scrolled to Derek's Instagram. There he was posting from the Maldives. Investment opportunity of a lifetime brewing. Big announcement coming soon. #blessed, #entrepreneur, #living my best life. Is there anything I can do legally? I asked. The trust gave your mother full discretionary power. Unless you can prove mental incompetence or coercion. She's not incompetent. Just cruel. I stood, gathering my purse. Thank you for your time. Outside, Atlanta's humidity hit me like a punishment. I sat in my car, air conditioning blasting, and finally listened to my mother's voicemails. Isabel, sweetie, call me back. I have something important to discuss. Belle, I know you're probably busy with work, but this is about family. I've made a decision about Grandma's money. It's what's best for everyone. The last one left an hour ago. I know you met with Mr. Brennan. Don't be selfish, Isabel. Derek is the father of your children. They deserve that money more than you do. I called her back. Finally, she answered on the first ring. I've been trying to. What children, Mother? Silence. Then, don't be dramatic. No, seriously. What children? Because last I checked, Derek and I never had any. Which because you spent years telling me I was a failure as a woman for not giving you grandchildren. He told me about them, she said defensively. The twins. That you've been hiding them from the family out of spite. I pulled the phone away from my ear and stared at it, wondering if I was having a stroke. Mom, are you listening to yourself? I don't have twins. I don't have any children. Derek lied to you. He showed me pictures. Of whose children? Google Images? His girlfriend's kids? Mom, you've known me for 34 years. When exactly did I secretly have twins? After the divorce. He said you hid the pregnancy. I saw you every week during the divorce. I was shouting now in my car in a law firm parking lot, completely losing it. You took me to the lawyer appointments. You held my hand during the custody evaluation for the dogs. Well, maybe before. Before what? Before the marriage when we were both in law school? During the wedding you planned? When Mother? When did I secretly produce twins that only Derek knows about? Her silence stretched on. Finally, he was very convincing. He's a con artist. That's literally why I divorced him. Remember? The fake charity? The forged checks? The reason I spent 2 years paying off his debts. People change, Isabel. He's reformed. He's starting a new investment firm. With my inheritance. For the children. There are no children. I hung up and blocked her number. Then I called my best friend Marcy, who was an FBI agent. Please tell me you're calling to grab drinks, she answered. This week has been. My mother gave my inheritance to Derek. Derek, your ex-husband? Derek, the walking Ponzi scheme? That Derek. $500,000. For our non-existent children. Marcy was quiet for a moment. Belle, I shouldn't tell you this, but don't make any plans to get that money back. What do you mean? I mean Derek Reeves is currently under federal investigation for wire fraud, money laundering, and running an illegal investment scheme. Has been for 6 months. I stared at the steering wheel. Are you serious? Deadly. We've been building a case. He's been taking money from investors, promising huge returns, using new investors to pay off old ones. Classic Ponzi. But he's been smart about it. Until now. What do you mean, until now? A sudden influx of $500,000 into his accounts? Right before he flees to the Maldives? That's what we call consciousness of guilt. And fleeing prosecution. Marcy, that's my money. My grandmother's money. Not anymore. Now it's evidence. And depending on how involved your mother was in the transfer. She wasn't involved in anything but being stupid. Did she know about his business? Did he promise her returns on the investment? My blood went cold. Oh God. She kept talking about how he's reformed, starting a new investment firm. Belle, I need you to come to the office. Bring any communications you have about this transfer. Texts, emails, voicemails. Everything. Is my mother in trouble? That depends on what she knew and when. But that money? It's gone. Frozen as part of a federal investigation. And if Derek promised her investment returns. I thought about my mother's retirement account. Her savings. The house she'd refinanced last year for renovations that never happened. Marcy, I think she gave him more than just my inheritance. How much more? I need to check. But she mentioned something about being a partner in his firm. Come to the office now, Belle. Bring everything. The next 3 days were a blur of federal buildings, sworn statements, and discovering just how deep my mother's stupidity went. She hadn't just given Derek my inheritance. She'd liquidated her entire retirement portfolio, taken a second mortgage on her house, and even borrowed against her life insurance. Total damage, $1.3 million. He said I'd triple my investment in 6 months, she told the federal agents, looking smaller and older than I'd ever seen her. He said the children needed a legacy. Ma'am, Agent Torres said patiently, your daughter has confirmed multiple times that no children exist. Mr. Reeves fabricated their existence to manipulate you. But the pictures, stock photos from a family blog in Wisconsin. We tracked them down. My mother turned to me, tears streaming. Isabel, I don't understand. Why would he lie? For the same reason he lied during our marriage. For the same reason I divorced him. For the same reason you chose to believe him over me. Because con artists are good at what they do, and you wanted to believe I was the villain in this story. The FBI seized everything. Derek's accounts, his assets, his passport when he tried to flee back into the country from the Maldives. The investigation revealed over 40 victims, $20 million in stolen funds, and a trail of destruction across 3 states. My inheritance was gone, absorbed into the asset forfeiture that would eventually, maybe, return pennies on the dollar to victims. My mother's retirement was gone. Her house would be foreclosed on within months. Where will I live? She asked me after the 3rd day of testimony. I don't know, Mom. Maybe Derek's fictional twins have a spare room. Isabel, please. I'm your mother. You were my mother when you gave my inheritance to my abusive ex-husband, too. You were my mother when you believed his lies over my truth. You were my mother when you chose him over me, just like you did during the divorce. I thought I was helping your children. You thought you were proving I was a bad mother. That I was hiding children from you, denying you grandchildren out of spite. You wanted to believe the worst of me so badly that you fell for an obvious con. She started crying again. What am I supposed to do? Figure it out. Like I did after the divorce, when you told me I should have tried harder to make it work. Like I did when Derek emptied our accounts, and you said I should have seen it coming. Like I did when I rebuilt my life without any help from you. I left her in the federal building and drove home to my small apartment. The one I'd worked 2 jobs to afford after the divorce. The one she'd called depressing and beneath our family's standards. It was mine, paid for with my own money. No inheritance needed. That night, Derek's arrest made the news. Atlanta man arrested in multi-million-dollar investment fraud. They showed his mugshot. The golden boy charm finally cracked, replaced with the hollow eyes of a man who'd run out of marks. My phone rang. Unknown number. This is a prepaid call from Fulton County Jail. Will you accept? I hung up. It rang again. This time, Marcy. He's looking at 20 years minimum, she said. The evidence your mother provided, ironically, sealed the case. Every communication, every transfer, every lie about the fictitious twins. She documented everything thinking she was protecting her grandchildren's interests. There's some poetry in that, I guess. Your mother could face charges too. Conspiracy, aiding and abetting. But the prosecutor's leaning toward treating her as a victim. She is a victim. Of her own prejudice, maybe, but still a victim. What are you going to do? I looked around my small apartment. My law degree on the wall. Pictures of my dogs, the only custody battle Derek and I had fought. My life, rebuilt piece by piece without any help from the family who should have supported me. Nothing, I said. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. She made her choice. She believed a con artist over her own daughter because it fit the narrative she wanted. Now she gets to live with the consequences. That's cold, Belle. No, it's survival. I've spent 34 years trying to earn my mother's approval. Trying to make her see me as more than the disappointing daughter who couldn't keep a man or produce grandchildren. I'm done. 2 months later, I got a letter from my mother. She was living with her sister in Florida, working as a grocery store clerk at 71 years old. The letter was long, full of apologies and explanations and requests for forgiveness. At the bottom, in a PS, she wrote, "I know now that there were no twins. Derek confessed as part of his plea deal. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I chose him over you. I'm sorry for everything." I didn't respond. 6 months after that, I got a call from Mr. Brennan. A portion of the seized assets was being returned to victims. My mother, as a victim, would receive $47,000. "She's listed you as the beneficiary," he said. "She wanted you to have it." "Give it back to her," I said. "She needs it more than I do." "Are you sure?" She was quite insistent. "I'm sure. I don't want her money. I never did. I wanted her trust, her belief, her loyalty. Those aren't things you can transfer through a bank." Derek got 18 years. My mother rebuilt her life slowly, painfully, working minimum wage and living in a shared apartment. We didn't speak for 3 years. When we finally did, at my cousin's wedding, she looked at me across the banquet hall with eyes that had aged a decade. "I see you're doing well," she said carefully. "I am. I made partner at my firm. Bought a house. Got engaged. Children." The question came out tentative, almost fearful. "No. And there never were any. You know that now." "I know." She looked down at her hands, weathered from work they'd never had to do before. "I destroyed everything, didn't I? For children who didn't exist. Because I couldn't accept that you were complete without them. Without him." "Yes," I said simply. "You did. I don't expect forgiveness." "Good. Because I don't offer it. Not for giving him the money. That was just stupidity. But for believing him over me? For choosing a con artist's lies over your daughter's truth? That's not something money can fix." She nodded and walked away. I watched her go, this woman who'd raised me, who'd been so desperate for a version of me that didn't exist that she'd fallen for the most obvious lie in the world. My fiancé, James, appeared at my elbow. "You okay?" "Yeah. Just thinking about family." "The twins," he joked, knowing the whole story. "All 6 of them," I replied. "They're doing great in their Swiss boarding school. The unicorn farm is really taking off." He laughed and kissed my temple. "Come on, let's dance." As we moved onto the floor, I caught sight of my mother again, sitting alone at a corner table. For a moment, I felt the old pull, the daughter's instinct to comfort, to bridge the gap, to pretend the wound wasn't fatal. Then the music started and James spun me around, and I remembered. Some bridges are meant to stay burned. Some truths, once revealed, can't be unknown. My mother had chosen Derek's lies over my truth. She'd paid for that choice with everything she had. And me? I'd paid for my freedom with an inheritance I'd never seen, exchanged for the knowledge that blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Worth every penny of that $500,000 I'd never touched. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.